Hey guys, Naterz here, and before I start the video, I want to give a quick update for my channel. If you'd like to skip the update, skip to the timestamp on the screen now. So if you stayed around, first off, thank you. Secondly, I sadly will be having to change my upload schedule. Since January, I have mostly been able to upload every single week, which is a huge accomplishment and something that I'm very proud of. But recently with my job and school, it has been sort of stressful getting my videos out in time. I want to enjoy making these videos. I don't want to keep pushing myself to my limit and then stop uploading. So I am going to be starting to upload every other Tuesday. This will give me more time to focus on my schoolwork and more time to put into videos. I hope that you can understand, and I appreciate anyone who still supports me. This video itself was a struggle to finish, but I really wanted to get it out there as I have been hinting at it for quite some time now. It may be a bit shorter than normal because of this. This video is the second part to my original Cartoon Network video that I made. If you haven't seen that video, consider watching it. But without further ado, let's get to our first character. Generator Rex has so much potential for this game. Last week I talked about Green Lantern and how his different constructs gives him a ton of potential. Rex is very similar to this. He is able to make different machines from his arms or his legs. I think that this is actually a pretty cool and unique power, and the devs could do so much with it. Just to throw a couple ideas out there, he could turn his hand into a saw blade, he could turn it into a gun, he could make them be big machines that could just be heavy hitting attacks. He also could make his feet have some extra jump height with machines as well. I can't say that his possibilities are endless, but they are pretty big. I think that he would be a fantastic character to add into the game, and I hope that we get to see him at some point in the game's future, because he would make a lot of sense. We currently have 2 Adventure Time characters in this game, and it's pretty well known that Marceline will probably be the next to come. But what about after her? Well, I personally think that Ice King would be the perfect choice. I've said it before, and I will say it again, I think that there is a lot that you can do with ice powers, and I'd love to see how the devs accomplish it. There are so many characters that have ice powers that I'd love to see. Mr. Freeze, Blizzard, Sub-Zero, and of course Ice King. Ice King has the capability of making practically anything with ice, which allows for such a neat moveset. The devs can make him work however they want him to, which I've been open about liking the idea of. He also is able to fly with his beard, which is kind of an odd power, but it is kind of fun. He has a ton of potential, but I don't really know and have a ton to say about him. He is pretty self-explanatory, as most of his moves would be ice-based. I hope that the devs decide to add him into the roster at some point, as I think that he would be an awesome inclusion. The next character that I would like to see would have to be Ice Bear from We Bare Bears. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see a 3-in-1 of the bears, but Ice Bear alone has so much moveset potential that I think that it would be really cool to see him as his own character. So what could some of his moves be? Well, firstly, I think that the Icy Nights episode would be a great starting point to pull moveset ideas from. I have gone back and forth on how I want him to get around. I think that it would be hilarious if he drove around on his Roomba, and when he jumps, it just propels itself upward with rockets. But it could look sort of odd, and I'm not sure people would actually like it or not. So maybe he could just be walking around by himself. But he has a lot of weapons that he could use as well. Mostly axes. But he also has used knives and has been even seen with ninja stars. He also has retractable claws that he could use at some point as well. And this is all from just the little that I've watched. I'm going to be honest here, after watching some episodes of these shows, I haven't really ever thought, oh yeah, that looks good, I should watch it. But that is not the case with We Bare Bears. I do think I'll end up watching it at some point, as it looks really good in my opinion. I'm kind of sad it took me until today to realize that. I also want to point out that there are other shows that look good, they just aren't what I'm into. I'm glad that there are some people who can enjoy them though. Mao Mao is another character that I see get thrown out there quite a bit in character wishlists. But in terms of moveset potential, he does seem to be lacking just a bit. He would probably be a sword fighter who has moves primarily focused around his sword, similar to Arya Stark. He also is able to cough up items though, so maybe that could be worked into a move somehow. I do feel like Badger Clops has more moveset potential than him due to his robotic arm, but I also feel like more people would want Mao Mao compared to Badger Clops. A sword character can be a lot of fun in fighting games, and I'm sure that the devs would be able to pull it off. That said, he wouldn't be super unique. He does seem to be a cool character though, and the show does look pretty decent, so I definitely wouldn't mind getting him into the game. Hopefully we will see him added into the roster in the future. Codename Kids Next Door seems like a pretty fun show. It definitely would have been a show that I would have loved as a kid. That being said, it is always interesting when selecting a character from it, as you have 5 options. But due to a recent poll done by Yellow Rose on Twitter, we can see that number 1 seems to be the most wanted for the game, which does make sense, as he is the leader. As for moveset, he has a decent amount of gadgets that he could use. He has Jetta boots, which are just rocket-powered boots, a gum Zuka, which is a gum gun, and even condiment grenades. But I think my absolute favorite would have to be the bear hugga, which shoots a bear. If the bear collides with someone, then they would get hugged by it. I think that this would be awesome in MultiVersus and would be a lot of fun. It would probably make the opponent be frozen for a couple seconds before the bear despawns. He really does have a lot of potential, and I think that he would be super neat to see get into the game. Grim is another character that I see get requested a decent amount, and a scythe-wielding character would be pretty neat. And there aren't a ton of characters from Warner Brothers that wield scythes as their main weapons. There's Spinel, technically Ruby, but her rights are kind of messed up at the moment, and maybe Scarecrow. But Grim is iconic. I think that he would be awesome to see make it into the game. According to the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy wiki, he has the power to levitate, shoot lasers out of his eyes, use telekinesis, teleport, and he can even ride the scythe. I don't know much about the series or the character, but he definitely does seem like a character that would be super cool in a game like MultiVersus. The next 3 characters that I would like to talk about would have to be Mac and Blue, as well as Chowder. I'm grouping all of these characters up for a reason. That reason being that they were all in Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. Now, some of you may be realizing that number 1 was also in that game. And yes, he was. But I was able to watch clips of his show and come up with some fun moveset ideas without looking at Punch Time for inspiration. I cannot do the same with Mac, Blue, and Chowder. Although Chowder does seem to have some powers, I'm not able to pull many ideas from the clips that I have watched. So I think that Punch Time Explosion could be a great game to draw inspiration from for these characters' movesets. I'm sure that the devs would be more dedicated than me when it comes to brainstorming moveset ideas, but I don't have a ton of time to do this video, so it will have to do. I do think that each character is pretty cool, and they both are fairly requested characters as well. Tulip Olsen seems like a pretty intriguing character. She is definitely determined, which is a great personality for a fighting game character. I think that if she were to get in, she should be able to use 1-1 in her moveset as well, sort of as a duo character. Other than that though, I'm not super sure how she would work. Part of her character is having a number on her hand, which she wants to go down. So maybe that could play a role somehow if she were to get in. Due to all of these characters being from TV shows, I'd imagine that their source material would have a lot to extract moveset ideas from if you were to watch the whole show. I, however, only have the time to view short clips on YouTube. But that is part of the fun with TV show characters. They do have potential, and a lot of it. You just have to be familiar with their series. There were some other characters that I would have liked to included in this video, characters like KO and Johnny Test, but I sadly didn't get the time to put in enough research for them. They both do seem like fun characters though. And with that, I think we will end the video here. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. It definitely encourages me to continue putting out videos. In 2 weeks, I plan on putting out a video on New Line Cinema characters, so look forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.